Good morning, and thank you for joining us for SBB Live. I am your host and the publisher of Seniors Blue Book, Amanda Barton. Very excited today to be joined by one of my very valuable partners with Heart, Body, and Mind Home Care. Ralph, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Amanda. It's great to see you virtually as usual.
Yes, it's
Just,
great to see you
glad to
too.
be here. Yeah,
It's been way too long, right?
it has been. There's been a lot going on since we've seen each other, right?
That is a real thing. So I want our viewers to know some things about you and your organization that make you very unique. And one thing I definitely want to address and talk about today is your holistic approach to home care. Can you tell me what that means?
Sure. Happy to tell you about that. And I think it's actually expanded a bit, under the current environment that we're in with COVID. But Amanda, as you know, since we started this agency several years ago, we took an approach which we believed would provide a better service to our senior community in personal home care, and that's the holistic approach. And really, what that means is, in addition to our caregivers providing, the professional care, assistance with activities of daily living, we think it's very important to also include that nucleus of either family members, close personal friends, whomever's living with the senior or our client, bring them into the care continuum uh, uh, so that everybody is working together for the benefit of that senior. And so, Amanda, what that looks like is, for example, we have online free video modules for family caregivers, and they can independently train themselves at home to do certain tasks that caregivers might do. But it's not just about tasks, it's also about self-awareness education. Maybe they have a family member who's in a stage of Alzheimer's or dementia. We have free online learning tools for that to educate the family caregiver at home. And the whole idea is, between our train modules, 50 videos, our how-to guides, 30 how-to guides for family caregivers, that when our caregivers leave the home, then that family member who might come home from work, for example, can A, understands what our caregivers do, and B, to some extent, provide a similar level of care when we're not there. And that's really how we model the holistic approach that we do our jobs. We help family members care for their loved one as well. So there's a greater level of consistency in the care of the family member at home.
Right. And you had a really interesting story that you shared with me on what inspired you to start this business. Do you just want to touch on that? Because it definitely touched me many years ago when we sat down and met with each other. You just have such a passion for helping people in what you do.
Right, so there's a few things, and thanks for asking, then bringing that up, Amanda. So there's a few things that really inspired us to get together. My wife is the chief operating officer and the administrator of the firm, and we've been in corporate 500. Our whole careers have been in corporate 500 and organizations. That path led us to live in Sydney, Australia for 6 years and raise our kids over there in Australia. But during that period in the early 2000s, my wife's dad, Oscar, became ill here in Lehigh. And we had to travel back and forth a few times to assist with organizing his care as he progressively declined over several months. We needed to provide home care. Later, he was in a rehab. And that we found to be very challenging for us as well as Pearl's mother. Uh, And then when we returned from Sydney, we looked for an opportunity to kind of give back to the community. We didn't want to work in corporate 500 any longer. And that eventually led us to uh, founding and opening up this agency to provide what we thought would be a level of care that we didn't have the opportunity to provide Oscar, in his later years.
Yeah, that it was a great story, and I love that you didn't come back with an accent.
No, but I have one daughter who speaks a little Aussie.
That's
That,
awesome.
but the other one, not so much. But the one who was a little bit younger, yeah, she was raised like a little Aussie girl.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You know, we're all dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Tell me exactly how this has affected your business, your personal life, and how, what the future holds for us.
Yeah, Amanda, for us at this agency, it was all hands on deck on March 3rd. I remember the day. I was actually out of town on that day, but it struck me with all the news and the information that was out regarding COVID that this was going to be a challenge that in all my years of business, I haven't really had to deal with something like this. And we immediately took action. And I'm not saying that we're smarter or better than anybody else, but I'm just grateful that we had that epiphany on March 3rd. We went ahead and ordered all the PPE we thought we needed immediately, masks, gloves, hand sanitizer. Uh, and of course, that wasn't enough. We didn't anticipate, but we had it. And then we began looking at processes that we would need to manage through COVID. For example, we made sure that we realized that if anyone in the office was infected, it could potentially spread to everyone else. We needed to make sure all of our systems were online in the cloud so we could operate the organization anywhere in the world remotely. So through April and May, we did that. We actually started to work remotely. We do that now. But by way of example, all of our client files are stored in the cloud. All of our caregiver personnel files are stored in the cloud, our client lists, etc. So we can literally be anywhere in the world and run the agency remotely. And that's what's helping our staff work remotely. We can also, this isn't so relevant to the clients, but we can work on documents, we can edit documents, we can send, make changes remotely for each of us, work on the same task. So we are, I think, operating at the highest level of any large company being able to work remotely. The next thing we did, of course, is we contacted our clients, every single client, and we let them know what we were doing for their benefit, their health, and their safety. We provided all of our clients cloth masks initially. So here's, for example, a cloth mask that we made. It's really cool, has a little nose thing. We had this made ourselves. We bought all of the material in April. We made cloth masks when everybody was looking for masks. We made sure that they were delivered to the clients, and subsequently we gave them all medical procedure masks that they can use if they were comfortable using that when a caregiver was there. All caregivers have personal protective equipment, masks, hand sanitizer, gloves. Gowns are available for anyone who needs gowns. We've had these supplies since almost the beginning. But then we also screened in March all of our clients, and we continue to screen all of our clients and new clients that come on board. The Center for Disease Control screening questions. There's a series of them. We called every client and every caregiver, and we screened them. And now every Friday, we call a certain number of clients just to see how things are going, check on their condition, to make sure that they are okay and safe. Amanda, with respect to our caregivers, we set up a system in the early days. I'll go back and say this was around mid-April, where not only did we phone screen every caregiver, for safety. But we also set up an app screening tool, so it's on their smartphone. Before our caregivers go into any home, they have to answer a series of CDC screening questions to self-identify with their condition. And if they answer the questions appropriately, not correctly, but appropriately, then they can work with that client. But they are required also to self-identify. I'll also say that we set up a series, I think it's about 6 online courses for all of our caregivers, no matter how experienced they are, all related to COVID-19 and infectious disease control and best health practices. So all of our caregivers have completed that. Any new caregivers that we hire must complete those modules before they start with us. And it's in addition to all of their other training. I guess what I would say, Amanda, is that I think we're going to be in this environment for a long time. And companies, as well as agencies, have to right now lay the foundation to manage this pandemic as it relates to their business for the long term. In every touch point where a caregiver is in contact with a senior, every point of contact, we have to look at how can we minimize any health issue and address that. So that's what we have done.
Yeah, I'm loving the color of those masks. You didn't do that on purpose, did you?
We did do that on purpose. The guys don't like it. We had gray, we're out of gray. But this is a cool one. I don't know if you can see that. I like that one. That's kind of moth. I probably shouldn't reach back. But yeah, we wanted to have fun with it.
Yeah.
Amanda. We had some fun with it.
Yeah.
That was in the early days when we couldn't find masks, and you can buy them now. But we made almost 300.
Wow.
Yeah, we made almost 300.
Well, they follow your theme, your logo colors. It's perfect for you guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
It's perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I admire everything that you're doing in the community. And I love the fact that you have the holistic approach and that you provide these extra services for family members and caregivers. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, Ralph.
Amanda, thanks for inviting me. Always appreciated.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks again.